Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Lindy, for this invitation and this occasion to visit your country with my French accent. The reason to choose this big question is the fact that I belong to a public organization, the little equivalent of NASA in France, CNES. To this question, to answer this question first, may I remember you this little story you probably know. An astronaut visits a kindergarten class, and all the children surround him with stars in the eyes, except one little boy who stays in this corner. The astronaut comes up to him and asks, "Kid, you don't want to talk with a man who has been in space?" And the boy replies, "But Mr. Astronaut, you know that we are soon in space." The question when we introduce the idea of interplanetary humankind in the future, with this question we are never to forget this little story. We are soon in space. So what is the definition of interplanetary? Did we become a species when our first satellites, our first astronaut crossed the boundary of the Earth's atmosphere? To become interplanetary, is it enough to reach another planet, such as the Moon or Mars, and to deposit a robot, as the Indian country yesterday? Is it India now an interplanetary nation and not France or Europe? Or is it necessary to establish a permanent settlement, human settlement, on another planet? In the strictest sense of the term of interplanetary, it implies the fact that we have to establish relation between Earth and another celestial bodies. But what kinds of relation? Assistance, domination, independence, autonomy, reciprocity? Good question. And we don't have to forget this sort of question and even this little story of the astronaut as a boy when we try to answer this question as a nation or as a species to become interplanetary. For a nation, it's a lot of positive reason to engage to become an interplanetary humankind or species. The prospect of extraterrestrial settlement requires or stimulates new technologies, industrial development. It can open up new economic opportunities, diversify supplies of raw materials and energy. And finally, it can, for a nation, enhance national prestige and support a policy of influence. You know that. But you know also that these reasons are similar to those which in the past and still today have led nations to undertake the conquest and colonization of foreign territories. Just one example is the support of the Catholic kings of Spain, who appointed Christopher Columbus viceroy of the territories to be discovered in the future. Indisputably, these policies run counter to space law, as Christopher explained just before, and in particular two of its principles, free access to space and non-appropriation. You know that these principles are today called into question by certain states with the aim of supporting private initiative for the medium-term exploitation of space resources and in the longer term, colonization. On the other hand, let's not forget that the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, adopted in 1982, which declares the ocean the common property of mankind and the seabed the common heritage of mankind. This convention is part of the post-colonization process. So, the question is, are we ready to support the emergence of an interplanetary humankind based on such policy of national policies based on space colonization. On the other side, encouraging the emergence of an interplanetary humanity can also lead to new scientific discovery, stimulate the spirit of innovation, the spirit of initiative, encourage scientific vocation, support education. In fact, science is rightly regarded as one of the origins of modern astronautic, alongside the military motives and needs. Among many examples, the media success of the Hubble Space Telescope illustrates the potential social impact of discoveries linked to space technology. Let us forget that the science, or to be more precise, the scientific communities, also they have always had a real competitive spirit, have also always promoted cooperation. It's not coincidence that the Antarctic Treaty, which prohibits any state appropriation of these territories, was adopted following the International Geophysical Year of 1957-1958, a year dedicated to scientific knowledge of the Earth. Could this spirit preside over the establishment of an interplanetary humanity rather than the spirit of colonization? Finally, encouraging for a nation the emergence of an interplanetary humanity could provide insurance for the long-term survival of our species. Space colony or a planet B could provide safe havens in the event of Earth be threatened by an asteroid or becoming unfit for human habitation. We know that today these sort of projects are really debated. There is two moral questions. How much of humanity would benefit from this emergency exit? What political status should be chosen or imposed on these new human territories? In any case, we have probably to remember three main ideas before entering in this question. First, an idea promoted by the German philosopher Edmund Husserl. The Earth does not move. It means that we have to admit a practical geocentrism. It's our responsibility as human species, not only on Earth, but also outside the Earth. Second idea, sorry for a little more than 8 minutes, but it's my French accent. Jean Domat, it's a French jurist of the 17th century, you know probably, Chris, written, "The heavens, the stars, the light, the air, and the sea are goods so common to the whole society of men that no one can make himself master of them, nor deprive other of them." 17th century. It's always the case perhaps today. And at least, what is the mission of a nation, of a state? Is it to promote a sort of paradise for the future, to promote a Superman? It's not my opinion. But my opinion is first to develop a sustainable society or to promote a sustainable development in these three very classical perspectives: social, economic, and environmental perspective. With this three ideas, perhaps it's a way to prepare the future as interplanetary humankind. Thank you for your attention.